Welcome everybody to NBL Overtime. Round 12, officially one game past the halfway point has come and gone. Damon Lowry, Peter Hooley. I want to put a scenario to you and let me know whether it sounds familiar. Now, I go out to nightclubs where, sometimes I stay too long.
Very familiar. Sounds incredibly familiar.
You happen to be there a little too long, but at the start of the night, you're dancing with a girl and you think, geez, this chick's amazing. She looks fantastic. Then the lights come on at around 7 a.m. and those dim lights of the nightclub catfished you. She doesn't look like she did an hour ago. Is Melbourne United that girl in the nightclub with the lights on?
She tricked us.
She tricked us
She
all.
fooled us.
The dim lighting of the club made me look like an idiot.
Wearing those high heel shoes, knowing that she wasn't that tall.
Oh.
Had that weave, hanging the hair down her back, knowing that wasn't her real hair.
Oh, Mrs. United, stop it.
Oh, man, sorry, I was enjoying that. I thought you guys were going to keep going back and forth. Yeah, staggering. 4 losses in a row. The way they've gone about it, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But again, to think about this as a team where you so confidently said it, double down, triple down, they wouldn't lose a game in the calendar year. It's shocking, but it's also not surprising. Everyone goes through peaks.
It's not surprising.
No, because, again, the way they were playing, everyone said they were the team to beat, they were championship favourites, but everyone has lulls, right, in a season. They're having theirs now, so their response is going to be crucial. So they were going to lose games. We knew they were going to lose games.
No, hold on. We knew they were going to lose games. A certain man put cashola on the line that they weren't going to lose games till the end of the year, but clearly something has happened here, and I think it's bigger than what we're leading on.
Always
4 games in a row.
Always felt, and I said this earlier when I did make that statement that they wouldn't lose in a calendar year, I said their biggest challenge will be complacency. Will they get bored? Sometimes it's hard to keep beating everybody. What do you have to get up for? And slowly but surely, complacency, that old evil person complacency, they sneak in when you're not paying attention. Next thing you know, you've lost your mojo.
I think it's more that you don't have key areas to work on throughout that. So when they were going through their undefeated streak to start, not every time you go to a review, there's not that glaring thing or the back-to-back losses. Okay, we've got to fix the defensive boards. We need to crash the O boards harder. We're not doing a good job defensively. It all gets hidden because you're winning. They weren't playing their best basketball through that undefeated streak. They still had some things to work on. But now it's so important because they've got a tough schedule coming up. Every game is tough now as teams are starting to get healthy around them, and they need to find a win.
Teams are starting to get healthy, and we've mentioned it before, they go on the road when the tennis is here. Now, history says that they do actually play quite well on the road, and that period hasn't been as deadly as you maybe think, but still, you do not want to be going on the road on a lost stretch like this.
You also want to make sure you're healthy. So Jesse Edwards didn't play in the last game. That's a massive blow. Shea Illy is back, but he's got handcuffs on due to the medical mafia. We'll talk about that later. But they need everybody whole right now. Now, it's all about top 2 finish. It's all for Melbourne United. Everybody else is about top 6. For Melbourne United, it's about top 2. They need that home court advantage.
And I'm not too worried about you talk about going away in January, because you see some teams when you're on the road a whole lot, it's a chance to really continue to grow with your culture and continue to have the chemistry. You spend a whole lot of time together. They know this. They've done it every year. They have everything planned out. But it's before that. It's on the court where they've got to fix some things now, glaringly. A lot of it's in the clutch too, because as they didn't play great against Sydney. Obviously, we'll talk about how poor they were shooting. But even the Adelaide game, they were down big. They fought back. They were in a position to win both games. But their clutch execution on both ends just wasn't there.
Where do you sit on a scale of 1 to 10 with panic for their season right now?
What's the little 10 panic?
I'm not going to tell you that.
10 is always the highest.
Oh, thanks.
Not if it's out of 11.
Yeah, that's true. 6.
That's a reasonable panic.
No, maybe 5.
2.
Not even.
Yeah,
2.
I'm sitting at a 2. Jeez,
2.
there's a
That's
lot of
no
words
panic
for
about.
someone who's sitting at a 6 on the panic scale.
Calm down.
Let's jump into the Sydney Kings.
I can't even answer why.
You've got an eye for good. What did you see this week?
Oh, I mean, we talk about who's important to the Sydney Kings, and it's Bull Qual. Bull Qual has had some big scalps in his recent efforts, especially last weekend against the Perth Wildcats and then going up against Chris Golding. They got into each other's face, and we all love that. We all love the theatre of going at it. You've got to try and limit Melbourne United's most damaging player, and even this right here. But Bull Qual, what he's doing, if he can stay out of foul trouble and still do the things he's doing, he is the key. Kendrick Davis, yes, we'll talk about Xavier Cooks, yes, but Bull Qual is the key to the Sydney Kings getting as far as they possibly can in the championship.
Let me tell you something else about Bull Qual. He don't give a damn that everybody upset with him on the floor. He don't care. Everybody else is going, come on, man, what are you doing? Get him off me, ref. Hey, and Bull Qual sitting there going, I don't care what you do. He doesn't get rattled. We saw Christian Doolittle crack it, and Bull Call's like, what's the problem? This is how I play defense. And you know what? Your offense is so stagnant, this 5-out, 4-out spread the floor business. You think it's going to work on Bull Call? He's a second skin. He won't let you get a catch. You need to make him run off double screens and fight through stuff. But if you're going to stand on an island, you got no shot.
I do agree that he's remarkably composed the vast majority of the time, apart from the time that we cupcaked him for getting remarkably uncomposed when he absolutely cracked it towards the end of one of those games. But again, I agree with you that he's one of the most important players to this team. And I think that, I'm not those concerns with the fouling and all that sort of stuff that we had a little bit earlier. I think he's come out of that a little bit. I think he's grown as this year's gone on.
And again, I think there's still been those moments as referees where he's had a couple of things to say, but I really do think how important he is because I love the way that he goes about it. The fact that you can really worry the team's best player without getting rattled yourself, it provides a calming sense throughout your whole team as well.
Let's hear what Dean Vickerman had to say post-game.
No, I was concerned after the Perth and South East game. I thought we lacked just an intensity to, really compete at this level. And for whatever reason, we found that again. We haven't got the total synergy back with the group, and but we're making winning efforts. And so, I coached those first two games a little bit angry just because that's not going to get you wins. And so these last two games, I'm still frustrated by referees' calls or frustrated by some plays a little bit. I felt really positive about the last two games coaching them because I know the things that we're doing are going to be sustainable to, for the end of the year. And
spoken exactly how you'd expect Dean Vickerman to approach that from what we've seen of him across the years. Cool, calm, collected. I wouldn't be too concerned. Maybe we can be concerned, but I wouldn't be too concerned if you're a Melbourne United fan with him at the helm.
Dean's a vet. He's not going to go into the press conference and just turn around and whinge and carry on and open up. He's just going to keep it all, answer the questions respectfully and then get to training, and then he'll move some furniture around. But I think there's a bigger issue, Pete.
Oh, no.
Check this out.
Oh, God.
Late in the game, crunch time. Well, you got two closers on the team, Milton Doyle and Chris Golding. Who do you go to if you want the last shot? Now, right now, Milton Doyle is probably thinking, I'll get it. Because I'm watching some of the actions that Chris is familiar with doing. He'll come and set the ball screen, slip out of it, you kick it to him. Shea Illy, Dellavedova, every guard he's ever had will kick it to Chris. Milton Doyle ain't so quick to kick it to him in that situation when the game is on the line. And I feel like it might be causing a little bit of confusion. What do you think, Pete?
Well, we sat here, we were watching that overtime game against Sydney, and we were calling the play. I was like, Chris Golding's going to go and set that guard-to-guard screen, try and get some confusion, and he was open. Now, albeit Kendrick Davis was there, ready to go on the rotation, but if you give that to Chris Golding, he might have a chance to get right to left, get downhill to a mid-range jump shot. But we've seen that a couple of times. But Milton Doyle, he's got so many runs on the board in the clutch, you can understand why they continue to go to him, but I would also understand you can get more out of a better shot. That shot from Milton Doyle nearly went in, but you can get I think you can get a better shot at the time, and that's what I talk about, their execution in the clutch. It's not just that, it's the couple of plays before that as well. And we're not just talking about the Sydney game, because the Sydney game where they shot so horrifically bad, we're not just talking about that.
That's the thing. In the Sydney game, they went 1 for 28 from the three-point line, Melbourne United. It's very, very tough to win. And then they come up against the Adelaide 36ers, and it's Bryce Cotton, who, again, was just absolutely superb, marching his way to yet another MVP.
Yep, this might as well it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, just like Melbourne United were going to win the championship at the start of the year.
No, I see the Illawarra Hawks are going to win the championship. No, Bryce is balling out of control right now, playing the point, distributing the ball better than he's ever had in his career. Still can score. Like, I'm perplexed with some of the matchups that he's getting. Our defenses still want to take the ball out of his hands on ball screens. But now that you got Zylan Cheatham and Ice Humphries playing out of their minds, that is like almost the last thing you want to do. You got three poisons that you have to choose from now. Don't double team Bryce, he kills you. Double team Bryce, he gives it to Zylan Cheatham, and he kills you. Take out Zylan Cheatham on the short roll, Pete, then he gives it to Ice Humphrey, and he kills you. They got so many ways to injure basketball life, so to speak.
And that fouled him out. This fouled him out. This
what do we think here? Yes,
the first time that he's fouled out in his history. Again, they'd already wasted the challenge. Mike Wells 0 of 6 on challenges this season.
275 games. Bryce has never fouled out. And he's standing there, he's shocked.
And I've got nothing against. There were some people that thought this was too an emotional response to getting fouled out. One, I think it was a real 50-50 call. And when you're a guy who's got the pedigree of Bryce Cotton. I don't think you foul the superstar of our league out on that sort of call, especially he's got 33 and 13 at that point of the game, heading into up. You don't foul him out on that. I think he's earned enough to not go out on that call. Would you agree with me?
Nope.
What do you think that was?
A charge.
No.
You called a charge.
No, it's a 50-50 call.
Hey, we see 50-50 call charges happen every single game. So
there is a
Bryce
flow
is
of the game. Yeah, no. In that situation, the superstar, I believe, is immune on a 50-50 call. It rolls their way.
Nah, they don't get
especially
immunity.
late game. It's like when you're going for a game winner, you've got to get fouled hard instead of just a tic-tac foul on a game winner.
I'm saying the Finn Delaney was the superstar in that situation because he got to the right spot, took the charge. What are you going to do? You're going to reward Bryce for doing the wrong thing and punish the guy for doing the right thing?
I think his feet were still moving enough where it was a 50-50 call. That wasn't a clear cut and dry block charge call.
Well, I end up getting to the point of this is why I want you to keep your coaches challenge because you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of coaches challenge that Perth-Brisbane game, which perplexed us, but that's exactly what they're there for. Mike Wells being 0 of 6 on the season, he'd already burnt it. And again, it might have been overturned. I thought Finn Delaney made a really good move to get in front and establish himself. And it didn't end up hurting them because other guys stepped up because Adelaide have so much depth.
Tom Coppen's playing some very, very good basketball this year. Very surprised to see him guarding Bryce Cotton on certain possessions.
Well, first, let's just go back quickly to Bryce's reaction on that getting fouled out. Now, he's experiencing something that he has inflicted on every single just about person in the league, and now it was his turn to cop it. Okay, so that's that, right? Now, Tom Coppen's guarding Bryce Cotton, that is a weird scientific experiment that I wouldn't have liked to have, if it was me, I wouldn't have done it, because he just doesn't have the experience. Now, only if they had a reigning defensive player of the year on the team, Pete. If he was available, I would have had him out there.
Well, he had the minutes restriction, obviously. I know you're not happy about that, but he's coming back off 2 soft tissue injuries. But more so watching that, and again, we've obviously seen a lot of Bryce Cotton games. I'm not sure I can recall the last time. Bryce Cotton initiated offense every single time in the second half and overtime. He either shot the ball or he facilitated every single time. Now, when Shea Illy's guarding Bryce, he's probably the one player in the league where you say, you know what, we don't actually need a real defensive scheme around that. Shea, we've seen your battles with Bryce in the past. Go one-on-one and do the best job you can. He's won 2 Defensive Player of the Years in a row. But throwing Tom Coppens out there at times, it looked to me, I'm thinking, where's the double team? And they did throw it out there. Milton Doyle came into a ball screen and trapped and got to get out of Bryce Cotton's hands. But leaving Tom Coppens on an island at times, I'm thinking, what is going on here? Why are we not just running multiple people at Bryce Cotton trying to get out of his hands? And I'm wondering, I don't think it is, but part of me is thinking that you talk about Dean Vickerman and how he's one of the greatest coaches we've ever seen. Is he playing chess? Is he thinking, if we have these guys in a championship series, I don't want to show my hand completely yet? Because I've just never seen that many times Bryce Cotton continues to pick them apart and no real changes being made. I'm sitting there thinking, is this a bit of a chess game? I don't think it is, but maybe it is.
You know what? I'm sick of you guys talking about they playing chess. Like, you're disrespecting.
I never said that.
No, all those people that say he's playing chess.
Yeah.
I actually play chess every day, and I'm good at it. It's disrespectful to real chess players
you just hate the quote.
to say he's playing chess. You got Shea Illy sitting right there, man.
He's on a restriction.
Damn them restrictions. The medical mafia, what's going to happen? The physio's going to get up to Dean and go, hey, man, what did we tell you? Go sit over there. What are they going to do? Look, Shea went out there, man, and we need to free Shea Illy for a start. But you don't put the rookie guy, Tom Coppens, on the MVP when you got the defensive player of the year sitting right there. You can't pick and choose, man. It's minutes restrictions when? After 21, after 22. And you can hear Dean say, yeah, I wish we'd have had Shea a little bit more. Well, guess what? You're the coach, man. It's your call. They got to stop listening to these dudes, man.
It obviously hurt having no Tyson Walker in that game because then it's just a like for like. You can switch it out. But I actually liked the minutes that Milton Doyle played on Shea, on Bryce Cotton when Shea Illy was off the floor because he had a bit more length. I probably would have liked to see that because it's a massive task for Tom Coppens. You talk about his improvement going in there because we see it every game. When they put some DPs, they put training players, young guys on the end of the bench on Bryce, his eyes light up and he might miss a couple of shots, but he starts to find his rhythm and I think that cost him in the end.
I'm wary of speaking about the team that's lost 4 in a row too much. So let's just switch track here. Isaac Humphries in the Adelaide 36ers. Isaac's playing some of the best basketball of his career and Pete, you could probably attest to this. There are NBA scouts. This guy's still around 26 years old. The NBA window for Isaac Humphries is not totally closed.
Well, he's already had his opportunity over there once before, so he's familiar with everything about that. I think he's been absolutely terrific. And what this says, I hope people haven't forgotten how good Isaac Humphries was before this season, right? Adelaide had a lot of issues the last couple of years, but he's found a guard who just makes his life so much easier on the basketball court. And I'm sitting there thinking, is he the best second option in the league? When you think of second option, sidekick, Batman, Robin, whatever you want to call it, because the way that those two work, and again, I go back to the game against Melbourne that we saw there, just simple high ball screen, he rolls hard, and it doesn't matter because Bryce Cotton, the gravitational pull, he will find you, and Isaac Humphries is benefiting, and right now, they are so hard to stop.
Is he the second best? I don't know. But he's really, really, really good. I know that much. And when he was in the NBA, he was 21 years old. I mean, he's way better now than what he was. What is he, 27, I think. Now, look, he's got Bryce right now. The question is Ice Humphries an NBA player? In the right situation, 100% he is. But you know how it is in NBA. Guys, we see guys fall in and out of the league. I hope he gets another shot. But wherever he goes to, if it's a summer league first, he's going to have to play the NBA style because he's not going to have Bryce Cotton there pick and roll and looking for him on all those roles. It's going to be a whole bunch of selfish NBA dudes going, give me a pick, get out of the way. So that's going to be the challenge.
The other game on Friday night, Perth taking on the Sydney Kings. Now, I consider myself a Perth Wildcats fan, for full disclosure. Very, very disappointing. I think, and the fans voiced it online as well, one of the more disappointing losses from them I've seen in a while. Yeah,
it was. And again, to do that on your home floor in front of the Red Army, again, the rivalry between the Sydney Kings, the second half, Sydney shot 67% from the floor, 63% from three. Kendrick Davis was unbelievable. So give a whole lot of credit to the Sydney Kings because they're playing some phenomenal basketball right now. But it was on the back of this guy right here, the 38, 5 and 8, just picking them apart. Now, we've seen David Duke Jr. be that head of the snake defensively, really trying to get it done. But if you're going to play the deep drops coverage, we talk about it. If you're going to step off a little bit, that's too much space for a guy like Kendrick Davis who's in a groove. This concerned me. And again, you talk about being a Perth Wildcats fan, Felix. You know that I picked them to win it all, and I think their ceiling is more than capable of doing that. But in this game in the second half, I started to see some of those cracks where we talk about the role clarity on the offensive end, the body language defensively, and it really started to concern me. I'm not jumping off the wagon yet. I still think they're a very talented team and they can really make a run at it. But I saw some things over the last couple of weeks that have concerns.
Yeah, they emotionally up and down, like led by Christian Doolittle. We don't know which Christian Doolittle is going to turn up lately. He's been up and down. Now, as far as their defense goes, you need some special rules because Kendrick Davis is better than you. He's better than all of you, one-on-one. So just like we talk about Bryce Cotton, you got to talk about Kendrick Davis in the same vein because he will murder you. Now, on the offensive end, we talked about that because we did the game. Role clarity. What's the scoring hierarchy? Where are they looking to? Is JLA going missing? Whose responsibility is it? David Dukes is a great combo guard, but is he trying to make sure everybody's getting enough to eat? I don't know. So Jaren really is solely missed right now, and when he comes back, that could change the landscape a little bit.
And again, we'll give the shout-out to Bull Qual. You talk about Christian Doolittle's struggles because Bull Qual was unbelievable in that game. You talk about the big scalps that he's had. But back to the Christian Doolittle point, and this is an all-NBL caliber player. This is an MVP candidate-type player when he's up and running. He is so important to the success of the Wildcats. And I know Jesse Wagstaff is the captain of this team, but Christian Doolittle is the leader of this team. And sometimes when you've shown the last couple of seasons in the playoffs, the true competitor that he is, sometimes you don't get to choose whether you want to be a leader or not. And I think he does want to be that. I think he's shown the maturity over the last couple of seasons. He's the ultimate competitor that we saw some of the body language, you saw some of the frustrations, even ripping the jersey. I've got no issues with that. But you've just got to understand that the rest of the team is following your lead every single time on the floor because you're one of the best two-way players in the league and you're so important to their success. And I think that if he continues to lock in and be that consistent beast we've seen a couple of times, I think Perth will be good.
He's the leader?
I think 100%. Who would you say?
Just because he's the best player don't mean he's the leader. Like, what is he doing to show me, what is his leadership attributes?
I'm talking about a guy who last year got them to the playoffs. You talk about with Bryce Cotton. He's been there the last couple of seasons. He's seen everything they're trying to achieve and talk about the offense. Two-way player on both ends of the floor, the competitiveness. Who would you, besides Jesse Wagstaff?
What you're saying is he leads by example.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily
That's
voice.
what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're putting your hand up saying you're the captain, I'm the vocal leader. He's someone that everyone's following.
Christian Doolittle leads by example. Jesse Wagstaff leads by voice. I'm sure I'm not in the inner sanctum of Perth. I wouldn't know the other players that probably lead by voice in that. But if you're talking lead by example, the only guy you can point to that team that does that night in, night out effort-wise and still puts enough production in there to be considered a true leader would be Doolittle.
Who would you have if it's not Wags? Obviously, because he's the captain.
What if they don't have one?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Whether you
every
want
team
has one.
Now, see, you guys are now you're disrespecting leadership. You think every team just automatically has a leader?
We're saying that every team.
Christian Doolittle is an experienced, super good player. Doesn't necessarily make you a leader. Now, I'm looking at a guy like Dylan Windler. He leads by example. JLA leads by example.
He could be a leader as well.
So, I mean, but we're just so quick to just make a guy a leader.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't say that there's a huge amount. I'd say he's in a category of players that show consistent effort every time out. Windler, I would throw in that as well. There's a big difference between captain-type leadership at this stage of his career that we see from Jesse Wagstaff, other very vocal guys. But I would say in terms of that category of leaders, he's definitely
I'm
one.
looking at it when the Perth Wildcats are winning basketball games, they're playing well. It's normally on the back of Christian Doolittle having a really, really big, consistent performance on both ends. I think that is what other players, the young guys on the team, everybody else will look to follow. So if he has some, and we showed some highlights of him being visibly frustrated with not getting the ball or they're not getting a call, that can really seep into all the young guys because they're looking up to it. Again, and being a veteran, having played around, he's won everywhere he's gone before he's come to the NBL. All of that your teammates know. They're looking at you regardless of whether you want to be a leader just because of the runs on the board.
I'm not going to diminish your point as well, that there are a lot of players that are just very good at basketball that we jump to conclusions and say he's the leader of that team, when that's not necessarily the case. Would I say Bryce Cotton is a out-and-out vocal leader? No, I would say he's the best player in the league by a mile, but he's not a vocal, out-and-out leader and even effort-based stuff sometimes. So I would say I wouldn't put him in the category that I put Doolittle in.
I've had enough to say about leadership.
I get what you're saying, too.
Let's honour our great mate Corey Homicide Williams. It ain't no cupcake league. Let's see what we saw around the traps. And I'll tell you what, we're not just starting in the NBL here. We're going over to the WNBL as well, because I tuned in across the week. Absolutely loved it. Joel Peterson on special comments is just one of my highlights, I reckon. Yeah. But what about this one? Nathan Strempel. We love him. He's worked on the NBL before. Someone needs to tell anyone doing courtside, you don't go in for the handshake because the players are in a rush.
Nah.
Has anyone ever actually shaken hands?
No, you don't.
Know better than that, too, Nate.
Did she come back? Did she come back?
Jada Clark.
She never came back.
Jada Clark
didn't even come back out of the locker room for the second half. What about this one? So you thought Stu Lash getting the job as Brisbane head coach was a surprise decision. What about getting Stevie Wonder to make their jerseys over at Brisbane? Have a look at this.
Yeah, that's
Taylor? Is that Latin?
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
There was part of it, and we were calling this game, Damien, there was part of me that thought that, I don't actually think, maybe the Bullets didn't even know, maybe he didn't even know, because someone found it out on Twitter, a very keen eye, because we were like, hang on, it looks close enough that it kind of might just be right.
Yeah. The Bullets jersey didn't have it.
The only excuse for that is they went to Rebel Sport right before it was about to close and did the quick custom job and some intern uni student trying to get it done.
I don't think they knew. I think that everybody was just none the wiser. If you did know, then you just give them a blank jersey, surely.
It's a fair point that there are bigger problems than the jersey at the Bullets.
Well, again, we've had some rough goes with the referees this year, right? And sometimes the floor wipers, they can set them up. This was the Cairns game, so the floor wipers there. And down goes the referee. So
Sam didn't push it? No, Sam didn't.
I tell you what, how many times do you do that in high school?
I just got a strong Winks. I just got a strong whiff of Lynx Africa.
just quickly get in there. You've been calling some great games. Good chemistry with some of the guys, especially you and Copes. What's the average age of you and Copes?
60.
Get on with the joke, man.
Just remember your age when you try to get with the current trends, man. Just remember the age.
Oh, no. What's he doing?
76 good minutes. Hardly even put together 3.5 good minutes tonight.
I was going to say tonight is 7 or 6.
6, 7.
Yeah, 6, 7. Sunday night 76.
That's in the Hall of Lame.
Come on, man.
That is in the Hall of Lame.
The kids are banned from social media now.
They won't even see it. They won't even see it.
It's on TV.
I'm not playing that one. No, man. I'm not playing the 6, 7
I like
thing.
it.
Hey, look, back to Sam Wardenberg. Back to young Sam over there. Good to see Sam back. Sat out all the season due to ankle surgery. He's looking all right. He misses that. Wanted the foul call. He goes, damn it. Takes out the LED screen. Whacks that, and what happens? He's got to go sit out because he just drew blood.
What? He
drew blood on his own self. He had to go and sit out thinking, Sam, man, you just got back? Relax, big fella. It's a half a season to go yet.
And also, the LED screens are still recovering. There was an incident a couple of years ago. We don't need the LED.
All right. If you're in Cairns, don't touch the shot clock.
Now, I'm going to stick with Sam, another Kiwi. Sam Meninga. Now, built like a He-Man.
Yeah.
Surely a 15.
Ooh. No, they hit the rim.
No, did it? No, it didn't.
It's like in college back when you were lifting.
I don't have any experience with that. I don't know how that feels to do that from the foul line. But Sam, man, 15 feet. Shot at 14.
Imagine if you had an airball, one of the 3 that you had.
But I didn't.
That's fresh Gippsland
We'll
air
never
too
know.
from Sam and
We're going to be back.
That was regional Victoria
after the break.
Big region.
Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, what a week. Well, not really what a week, it was more what a season they've had so far. Because I've said before, there's a bit of an identity crisis with Southeast Melbourne. And maybe it's because of previous years. I've always seen them as the little brother. Now they're starting to play good basketball. I always think, as it has in other seasons, it's going to drop off. But I think there is enough body of work right now, and we saw it against the Breakers, who I think are a red-hot team. Nathan Sobey, 36 points. They're legit.
Ever since they knocked off the Melbourne United and throw down 3,000, we knew then that they were legit. Now they took care of New Zealand Breakers. They dropped, obviously, one to Tassie. But this man right here on screen, the 35-year-old evergreen, warrantable product, Nathan Sobey, he is balling. Balling out, is he the leader of the team, Pete? Well, he's the leading scorer of the team, that's for sure. And as Sobey goes, so goes the Phoenix.
Ooh. I know you're fishing there, but I will ask you, do you believe he's the leader of his team?
No.
A leader of this team? Or
One of the leaders, yes.
You can have more than one.
Yeah. He's a dive on the floor, lead by example type guy.
And I think if he comes out there and he's a little bit flat, the rest of the team will need someone else to pick them up. But he's been terrific. And again, I'm always on board for the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix because they hang their hat on the defensive end. If they can't score in games, it doesn't matter because you won't be able to score. And that's going to hold true when they get to a playoff series, if it's 3 games, if it's 5 games. Being able to be elite defensively, albeit I think they've dropped to number 2 statistically on the defensive end. Sydney Kings have taken over that reign. But defence wins championships the way that Josh King goes about it. And if they're not playing one of those top upper echelon teams, they're playing one of the bottom teams. We saw the New Zealand Breakers, they are below them. The way that they will force you to turn it over, they seem to just beat up on anyone below them on the ladder, and it's fun to watch.
And they got good balance. Even though Nathan Sobey's the leading scorer, they got 5 other guys averaging double figures. So one of them is going to get you, and this is without Malik Lewis, who's been out of the lineup for a few weeks. So they have a style of play. We talk about defense, but it's how they defend. They get up the court. They pressure you. They put all the pressure in the world on your guards. There's never a moment that you can relax. Their defense generates a lot of their offense, and then they have a formula. They're going to shoot 35 plus threes. And one of those days when they get hot, is over.
And that's one of the reasons why when they hadn't beaten Adelaide or Melbourne, I had the concerns of if teams don't turn the ball over and make them have to play in the half court, outside of Sobey, who are their playmakers? That's one of my big questions about them. Having said that, Angus Glover is so important to this team. He can come in, be a spark off the bench. They've won these games without Foxwell and Malik Lewis as well. They've just got a lot of complementary pieces. And again, Geordie Hunter is one of the best shooters in the league.
Remarkable, isn't it? Sobey, the scoring dried up for Sobey against Tasmania, who we're going to chat on Tassie in a second. Do you think there's an element of Sobey or bust? We've spoken about him being a leader in terms of when he brings the energy, they're up. Do you think they can compete with the upper echelon if he's not on?
I think that's what I want to still see. You talk about Adelaide 36 is right now the championship favourites. For the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix to be that legitimate second one for me, it's, you know what, if Sobey's having a poor game or Sobey's out with foul trouble, or if they really take him out of it in the half court, who is their offensive creator? Now, Owen Foxwell's missed a couple of games, so he'll come in. They do it by committee, though. There probably really isn't that other guy to come in and be that offensive playmaker.
I don't like that premise. It's like, we could say that about every team. What if you take out every team's leading scorer? What are they going to be like? What are the Hawks like without JaVale McGee? What are Adelaide like without Bryce?
They were pretty damn good in overtime.
I'm just saying, like Nathan Sobey, yes, he's the key to that team, but like I said, they got 5 other guys in double figures. They got balance. How many other teams in the league can say that?
But again, we're talking about just strictly offensive playmaking. You do it by committee. It would have to be guys like, and I say Angus Glover is so important to this team. They look different when he was out. So now he comes in, he's a great spark plug off the bench and probably a leading candidate for 6th Man of the Year.
Would you guys agree that I rarely make a fool of myself? What are you doing?
Rarely?
Rarely. I rarely make a fool of myself. I'm often right. I never go on TV and do things that I shouldn't do. For the most part, I say things and they happen. Would you agree?
I think if this segue is where it's going, the fans are going to enjoy this.
Because I wrote Tasmania off. I wrote Tasmania off after round 11. I said they got no chance. I said Scott Roth is acting a fool. And they're gone 2-2.
And they're doing it by committee. They are doing it by committee. Again, Josh Bannon was exceptional in both the games, but again, the second half he had against the Cairns Taipans. And we talk about guys, most improved players, but he's taken another leap. He's gone 20-13. They had a 13-point win against Cairns. And Bryce Hamilton's a stud. David Johnson, was great to see him in the 4th quarter. And Scott Roth, he tinkered with the lineups this past round. He threw Ben Eyre into the starting lineup, brought Tiger Campbell off the bench with David Johnson, and it seemed to work wonders because even Nick Marshall had some great energy in their game down in Gippsland. And this Tasmania team, it seems whole again.
I was just going to say, they're whole and they're dangerous now. After that loss that they had, that Scott Roth moved some furniture around the training. The way they came out that game, they was up the floor, put Ben Ayer in the lineup, and Ben started everything. He was the aggravator, the instigator. Everybody else bought in. Nick Marshall, he's a thug now. He's a scoring thug.
Yeah.
Nick Marshall out there throwing his little skinny weight around. So now all of a sudden they're looking like that Tasmania grit and grind defender. They're looking like that again. And obviously they got a guy that can just go out and get you a bucket when things dry up.
It's hard, and we have a habit of doing this in a league where teams play, only so many games, and we knee-jerk reaction to 2 wins. But is there a world where Tassie can get on a bit of a roll here? We're starting to say that, certain leaks have been plugged, but are we going that far?
I mean, health is their kryptonite. You look at their next 4. There's no easy games now in the NBL, but it's all about remaining healthy. And I think they are best poised to make a run in terms of they know how important it is to start playing your best basketball in January and to continue to build. They've been in these situations before where they've had really poor patches of a season. Remember, the first 3 seasons, I believe, they started really poor. I think the year they won the championship, they were a half away. They were 20 or 16 down to Brisbane at home. Would have been 0-4. And then they go on this run. So for all those reasons, I think they can really make a run at it. And again, I like the complementary guys. Ben Ayer, you talk about Nick Marshall, it's sparking something because Bryce Hamilton's a bit quiet as a personality on the court. He's definitely not in terms of the box score. David Johnson's starting to find his groove, and then Bannon and Magnay. I do like what I see. We've said that all along, though. If they can stay healthy, they'll be around the mark.
Don't forget about Majuk Ding. Another scorer off the bench. They got a 3-headed front court. Now, are there 4 teams in the NBL worse than the Tasmania JackJumpers? Because if there is, they're a playoff team. I'm saying right now the Tasmania JackJumpers will be somewhere in the 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm with you.
I think they've got a chance. I think 2 wins this weekend were huge in going that far. If they had dropped them, I would have continued to write them
They'll
up.
definitely finish top 8.
What about the Cairns Taipans? Man, this has been, for me, such a disappointment. Now, you can talk injuries, whatever, but I genuinely feel for the fans of the Cairns Taipans because the first time in a long time they spent the money and it just hasn't worked out. Even Wardenberg coming back into the lineup just looked out of shape. Not his own fault. He's had to come out, I would imagine, a little bit early just due to the dire position of the season. But what did you think of his return? I thought he looked a little out of shape, a little underdone, which is going to happen because he's got to play a lot of minutes for a guy that's been injured for a long time.
Well, yeah, he had to sit down for majority of his rehab and then try and ramp it up in a couple of weeks. And it doesn't matter what you do, whether it's running, whether it's swimming, game fitness, getting up and down in practice is very different to being thrown out there in a game. So it was great to see him back. Nice lob play to start. But they came off a big win in Illawarra undemanned as well. So what they do now the next couple of games to remain healthy again, hopefully get Rain Smith back. No Mojave King. Would he have made a difference in this game? Probably, but get some more reps under Sam Wardenberg. But for sure, another team that's been dealt a tough blow with injuries, and we'll see what they can do in December.
One thing that tagline didn't say was he played 24 minutes. 24, that was quality minutes. Now, obviously, he got tired as the game wore on. But if you add, like you said, you had Mojave King back there. You had Rain Smith back in there. Andrew is now playing some rock-solid, very poised and efficient basketball. That's the key. You got to have the rock-solid point guard. You're not winning anything without a good point guard. Now, Admiral Schofield, we saw, it looks like Adam Ford has already made his decision. He gave that man 7 minutes of playing time.
Well, he said in the press conference that he had a hip.
Okay, we'll see. I'm just saying, but Admiral Schofield has been the one that's been really down. Now, Marcus Lee gets to be the bag-up big, like he brought him in to be. And now when he comes off the bench, gives you some energy, some block shots, yada, yada, yada. They are looking like if they can run it all back, maybe make a change or 2.
We've been saying that for years. We always say with the Taipans, I agree, but we always say with the Taipans, when they're healthy, geez, they run this thing back, keep it together, they'll be all right. And it just every year we seem to be in the same frustrating position where they're just injured all year.
But that's what I'm saying. Hey, let's wait till maybe Hoops Fest and see their results, or the end of the calendar year, right? And again, if they start losing games by double digits over and over again, with everybody healthy, then 100%. But again, we've seen those little sparks, and I don't think the Cairns Taipans fans are sitting there right now saying, hey, we better make the 6 or else it's chaos. If they
but they should be this year, which is what sucks.
Not to this point after everything that's happened.
They should be in the position this year to be saying, hey, we're going to do it. And it's not all on Jack McVeigh, them paying him a huge amount of money, because he's actually been very serviceable considering the tools that he's got around him. But I feel the frustration. I do see the frustration online from Taipan supporters who have been gaslit this year into thinking it was going to be any different than the years where they spent $50 $50 at a packet of chips on the damn roster.
Well, they're about to see in the next 2 weeks, right? If this team is healthy and continues to lose games, then it's going to be alarm bells.
There's got to be changes somewhere.
If it comes in and they start to win a couple of games, they look like a better team, all the fans are going to be thinking, man, this is what we could have had all year without these injuries. The next 2 weeks will be very telling.
Calm down.
I just, the thing is, I respect the fans for these teams that come in, week out. There are people that are front row at every Cairns Taipans game where they've been losing for so goddamn long, and I just feel the disappointment for them. We rip on the Brisbane Bullets all the time, who have got a little bit more money to spend, all this sort of stuff. And the Taipans, we sometimes, I feel, give them a bit of a free pass because of that sort of financial history, when that shouldn't be the case anymore. I think there needs to be serious changes at the Taipans moving forward, whether that be coaching, physical staff, anything. There needs to be something that turns this ship around.
Everything you said, I'm with it. Everything he said, I'm not with it.
So you think it's totally fine for the Taipans to just keep on rolling, nothing changes, just keep it going? We're going to be injured every single year?
Sometimes you can't help bad luck. Like the start of the season, the point guard can't make it out here. Sam Wardenberg gets hurt, don't play one single game. So, look.
So there's no background research that could have gone with the point guard not making it out here?
Oh, well, now what are we doing? Like,
I think they could. I think
if
you ask them, they could admit that all was a mess up with the Ashton Hagens thing.
Where I'm going is the same way I'm kind of going with Tasmania. When they get whole, now we will judge them. Like you said, Pete.
Next couple of weeks will be huge.
Next couple of weeks.
Amazing.
Give us another couple of weeks, man.
Amazing of you to say that to Cairns Taipans jacket as well. My God, I thought you would have been on my side with that. But I'll tell you what, finally the injuries will stop in maybe 2042. So Taipans fans, you can look forward to that. They need to make a change soon. We're going to make a change on the outside of this break. You've got to start showing some respect to the goddamn Cairns Taipans. Oh, sorry, hey, we're back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. We're going to chat Illawarra Hawks now as well. Damon Lowry.
Right, round 4.
They finally got a win over another Queensland team.
Hey, look, don't be hating on the Hawks, man. Now, look, Illawarra got off to a really good start. JaVale McGee reestablished himself as the most dominant big man that we have seen. Had some help from QJ Peterson off the bench. They're still not 100% as we know, but that was an absolute must-win situation they just had. They had to get this done. Took care of Brisbane Bullets in a very kind of methodical kind of a way. And I like what Justin Tatum and JaVale McGee said in the press conference. Justin Tatum went to training and brought out the hammer. He put the beat down, put the starters relegated them to like the third string, if you will, and just to prove a point, just to get a message across. And the guys came out and responded.
I tell you what, though, this game, the final score looked a lot more flattering for the Hawks, but the Brisbane Bullets game a bit of a scare. But we keep talking about teams getting healthy in the Illawarra Hawks, and I keep talking about the Hawks in particular. Their best is more than capable of being a playoff team. The problem is we've seen the other side is when they don't show up, it can be really ugly. So it's all about consistency for me from them. JaVale McGee's been unbelievable. I love QJ Peterson as a spark plug off the bench. Wani's being impactful. They've got a big game against Melbourne United this week. We'll really see where they're at right now. But McGee, Tyler Harvey, is great to see him knock down a couple of shots. I think he found some relief in that as well. And Dave O'Hickey's going to continue to be Dave O'Hickey. So there's some really good pieces there. And then Sam Froling reportedly due back in the next couple of weeks?
They need him back bad because the depth department, and this is no disrespect, but we saw Lucas Yates hit the court. And Lucas Yates actually played some good minutes. He was serviceable in his role. The issue is when JaVale McGee is off the floor, who's going to keep that scoreboard ticking over? Luckily, Melbourne United come to town, and they've already beat Melbourne, and they always get up for those guys.
I'm excited to see Sam Froling back because we've seen guys come back from Achilles injuries in this league, DJ Jack White, and come back better than they were before. So I don't think this is like one of these ACL injuries and Huckporty as well, where you're going to come back and really work into it. They don't mess around with a kid. You come back when you're ready to go.
And again, from more reports, they're going to play a bit of the power forward. They're going to go Twin Towers as well.
And Sam has always been a power forward. Yeah. He's always been that. So I'm saying now, what are you going to do when you got JaVale down low? He takes your big down there, and then you got Sam at the elbow who can bully anybody. And Sam says he's been working on his foul line jumper. That's going to get him a weapon that they haven't had.
And that's what I look forward to a lineup with those two in there as the Twin Towers. QJ Peterson, Tyler Harvey spotting up with Dave O'Hickey as well. That is going to be a really, really fun lineup. And again, down the other end, Davo's going to have to be more of a defensive guy if Wani's not on. But that'll be fun for JT to play around with. Over to the other side of the coin, the Brisbane Bullets. What do we think of Terry Taylor? If you were looking at his jersey over the weekend's Terry Taylor. He's great. No, and again, this was part of the resume coming in. The first game he played was a little rusty in Adelaide, understandably so. He was fresh off the plane, and I know that some guys have walked off the plane and had some big games. Leonard Copeland reminded me of that. But Terry Taylor, and this is a guy you just think, geez, I'd love him to stay around in the NBL for a whole lot longer. Undersized power forward, but he uses his frame. He's got a good little outside shot, and I think he's starting to adapt to the league a lot quicker than some other guys who are similar play styles. And who were you going with your comparison? I said Zach Randolph a little bit.
Yeah, too short for Zach Randolph. I was going with Wayman Tisdale. But I like Terry Taylor, and what I like about him is he's that undersized forward that does well in Australia. You don't have to be the 6'9" power forward kind of guy. Be the 6'6" guy that can shoot the three, get in the pick and roll, put the ball on the floor. He got a whole entire skill set that's suited to the NBL, and I hope he loves it here, and I hope he's
6'6"?
6'6"? What do you give him?
Maybe in the morning.
6'4"?
Yeah, I think it's about 6'4", 6'5".
The curious case of Javon Freeman-Liberty. Where do we sit with him at the moment? Do we think we're getting the same blitz Javon Freeman-Liberty here?
Well, it seems to be, again, I know we always seem to talk about minutes restrictions, Damon, but he seemed to be on some sort of restriction in this game against the Hawks, because in that first quarter, he was unbelievable. He checked into the game, he was scoring, he was getting some stops, getting hands on deflections. They're going to need a whole lot more from him, because we'll talk about the Bullets as a whole. They've got a big hole to dig themselves out of, but it's just great to see him back out there hooping.
The team has got so much
That was you said.
camaraderie, so much dysfunction. It's hard for a guy like Javon Freeman-Liberty to really shine in that current environment. So what he's doing right now, as far as I'm concerned, he's on audition for next season. So just
A lot of them might be, though.
pretty much 70%
The injury
of the
list
team.
is wild. Dakota Mathias ruled out for 6 to 8 weeks. They literally, outside of Alex Dukas, barely have a proper shooter available, which is going to be tough in the NBL.
Let's hear how Stu Lash wrapped up the game.
These guys know, like, I love them. I care about them. I want nothing but success for the organization, for the players, and, we're feeling it. Like, we're together as a group. Like, I will say there's, culturally, like, we're intact. I don't think anyone would say this is an organization that's in dysfunction. We need to be better. We've had a lot of challenges. And, our execution right now is like we're not able to put together 40 minutes.
Now, that was post-game against Illawarra. I'm not really sure what to make of it.
Oh, look, they can be together all they want. Culture can be fine. I don't know. I'm not behind
There was
the
a big
walls.
emphasis on the off-court stuff, which I don't think anyone's really questioning the culture of the players.
I'm looking at the on-court product. I don't care what's going on over there. The on-court product right now is not good because they got so much change. Like, how many imports have you gone through in
6.
players? 6 imports. Unprecedented. There's not a coach in the world that can deal with that much change. So right now, what I'm more interested in, are you still playing basketball for the love of the game?
Yeah.
Do you still love the game? Because what they just dished up over the last round was horrific.
Well, take out the Hawks game. They've had 2 games in 3 appearances where they've put up just over 60 points, right? That's not enough in the NBL. And again, to still have talent available, local talent, some imports, you've got to be putting up more points than that. So it's tough going. As I said, they have no shooters available. They have to execute so perfectly. Their defense has to be on point. And with all the change and rollover, it's just not going to be.
There's been a lot going on across the entire year for the Brisbane Bullets, and I thought this was interesting from a members' function during the week. We heard this from Stu Lash. Now, he was asked if he would consider stepping aside or shifting roles. Now, this is to a panel of members, a room full of members. He said potentially would he step aside, potentially moving into a management-focused position where he has extensive experience. Remember, he's a first-year head coach, while an assistant coach takes on on-the-court duties. His answer hinted at possible internal changes in the future. So his quote in response to would you step aside, he said to the room full of members, "Those are conversations that are actively happening right now. I can't get into all the granular details, but I understand the question and why it's being asked." Now, my opinion of this, I think that is a painfully and brutally honest response to a question that needs to be asked. He didn't dance around it, and he said, yes, we're playing terrible right now, and there are questions on whether I will continue as head coach or step back into management. I love that answer from Stu Lash, and I think it's exactly what members need to hear.
Oh, full respect to him for that, because the other side of the coin for that is he rocks up and turns around and says, no, we're okay, we just had a lot of injuries, right?
Yep.
We're just trying to work through it. When things aren't going their way, they wanted to make the playoffs this year. That was their goal. They brought in Jalen Adams, it didn't work out. The Casey Pratt, all the other injuries, and fans are frustrated. So you don't hide from that. You say, we understand that, and we are trying to evaluate exactly what the best path forward is for this club, because the fans, they're so passionate about it. We want to get back on that ride with you. So I commend him for coming out to say that and not just hiding behind or saying, you know what, got the full support of the board, then I'll be all right.
I mean, we always kind of felt something like this was on the cards because when you say a first-year head coach, a first-year coach
Yeah.
in general. Like, the dude has never coached before. So what are we talking about? Now, you got Greg Vanderjack over there who's taking all the timeouts. D-Mac is over there doing the defensive kind of stuff. And we don't know what the training sessions look like. But when you have, it's almost disrespectful to the coaching position, the title of coach, to bring in a guy who's never done it before at any level. At least Justin Tatum coached. But like, he coached high school, he coached like AAU, he did something. Whereas Stu Lash hasn't done any of that. So does he go back to the manager? Like, he was a consultant last season. Okay, maybe that's probably best. But all that aside, I'm looking at the players. What are you guys going to do? You're the one. Stu can't go out there and shoot the ball for you. He can't go out there and get back on defense for you. I'm looking at the players. I'm questioning everybody's character right now, but I'm not questioning yours, Jacob Holt. I'm not questioning yours, man. You good to go.
But we did say that against the game against the Perth Wildcats because it wasn't pretty, but you can walk in there, all the outside noise, and again, they do get a bit of an asterisk with the ridiculous run of injuries they've had. They've got to look at what's going on there for sure. But when you walk into a game and you've got 11 other guys there, whoever's available in a Brisbane Bullets uniform, and say, hey, we're getting after it, man. If we can't score, if we're struggling to shoot, if we're not proper shooters, we're going to make sure we're the hardest-nosed defensive team you've ever seen. That's choice.
I think we could say now that this whole experiment didn't necessarily work, but you know what? And people in these management positions, they make their careers on going out and making decisions that are sometimes tough. This one didn't work out, but I still commend trying to think outside the box and find another way. This one didn't work, but you know what? Maybe there's a world in which it did. We'll be back after the break.
Last play of the game from long range. Why not finish it with an exclamation point? Derek Davis, that is a foul, and that will count. Damn, Vegas! He shot that one, Jack.
The Mitsubishi Motors leading three is Bryce Cotton. He's certainly catchable. Look at Nathan Sobey, and we know that South East Melbourne offense. He's going to get a bucket load of attempts as this season goes on.
And the way they play, he can definitely catch Bryce, because every time Bryce goes off the ball screen, they're going to probably trap him. So Sobey's going to get up more attempts.
Is he going to beat him?
Yeah, I'll say he does. I reckon he's going to get a whole lot of attempts. And I reckon Bryce just maybe just reins it back a little bit. He's getting those assists. He's thinking, hey, this is legacy type stuff. You know, I got a whole lot of points. Maybe I start adding up the assists.
We should also clarify. I did see someone a few weeks ago when we said, Bryce is going to get himself a Mitsubishi. You don't get a car from it. Just to clarify, there's nothing on the line like that.
Well, the Ignite Cup continues this Wednesday night. Sydney taking on Adelaide. Now, I'm right that this one is in Canberra.
Correct.
Which, for me, and you can't obviously control scheduling. It's going to be in Canberra, but I would have liked it to be in Sydney, all things considered. I think it would have been fantastic there to have it there. But New Zealand, 3-0 at the top. You said 20 points gets you in, Pete.
Well, this game, again, the Ignite Cup standings means a whole lot more to Adelaide than it does the Sydney Kings, because the Sydney Kings are out of the Ignite Cup. They will not be going to the Gold Coast, but this is just a massive game in general. The Ignite Cup as a whole, though, as I said, the New Zealand Breakers, they look like they're probably going to be there. But it's all, you've got to have some luck, too, with the scheduling on a Wednesday night. So this is a big test for Adelaide running into a red-hot Sydney Kings team if they want to play off for the 400K in February 22nd.
Everybody's playing off the Ignite Cup. Everybody's trying to be all calm, cool, and collected.
Oh, they care.
Wait until February rolls around and you got 400 gorillas staring you in the face. It's going to get lively.
Well, that's going to be tough. 400 gorillas, let alone a basketball team. That's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to come up against. You know what? I'm backing the gorillas.
Yeah.
In that
one. It was one.
Yeah, on that topic, we've had a couple
gorillas?
of people. Yeah, we've had a couple of people. John Brown came out and said, oh, no, I don't even know what the rules are. How much are you buying into that?
None of it. They all extra cash. Come on, man. They all want a piece of that.
Yeah, I'm not. Josh King's not the type who'd be like, hey, guys, remember it. But yeah, everyone knows about it. PJC was honest. He said, of course we care about it. That was at a time when the Breakers were really low on the ladder, and now they're starting to climb it. They still care. That's extra money, man.
Speaking of honesty, one player that's always honest when he gets into his press conferences is Kendrick Davis. And he said before, in his first season in the NBL, he has said that he loves going up against the best in the league because he thinks he's just as good as them. And I love the confidence on it. And there's one way to prove it. He's going up against Cotton, and you know that he circles every matchup with Cotton.
Well, that is a stitch up with a picture for the great man Kendrick Davis. We can't be throwing that out there. Kendrick Davis is one of the best players in the league. He's been phenomenal. And again, their 2 wins over the weekend. He was leading from the front. the game in Perth, and then the fourth quarter and overtime in particular. I love the way he went about it. And this is going to be fun because there's a lot of mutual respect between those two. Kendrick Davis believes he should have won the MVP last year. He's coming for it this year, even though Bryce is having another historic run. So this is a whole lot of fun. And both of them are going to be all NBL first teamers for sure.
And the way the Kings are playing right now, the Brian Gorgian motivational tour continues. Once he gets those guys like, it's us against the world, they just come out, they play at another level. So I'm expecting another big game.
I love Wednesday nights for many reasons, but we're going to get bull qual off the back of Christian Doolittle, where he kept quiet, and Chris Golding. Now he gets Bryce Cotton.
He's already got him one time.
This is going to, I'm still talking. This is going to be a whole lot of fun.
An emotional Bryce Cotton after what we saw at the end of the Adelaide game as well. So he's coming in red hot into this one. How do you think he's going to go? Who wins that battle out of Bull Qual and Bryce Cotton? Do you think he's going to shut him down?
I'm back in the second skin, the Pit Bull Qual.
Oh, really?
Who have you got?
Yes, Sydney Kings got it done last time against them. I'll back him.
I'm saying the player. You think Bryce Cotton's going to have a big game right in Qual's face?
No, I think Bull Qual. I think Bull Qual as well.
We can't do a break. That's 2 for Qual. Welcome back to NBL Overtime. It's time to wrap this thing up. And Damon Lowry, you harp on week in, week out. You even harped on that a certain coach in this league was disrespectful for them to be named. I'm starting to think that they were in charge of your team this week because the so-called village that you beat last week, they've tipped it. Government's been overthrown. It's been a coup.
Not as much pillaging and plundering,
I'd
but still a lot. Still a lot.
That's the number that...
Wait.
This,
right there. 3,134 beat you.
Yep, they got
I
lucky.
actually thought it was going to be a whole lot more.
But let's talk
like
about
10,000.
Let's talk about the 11,452 of you that lost. I'm not messing around in these streets. It's real out here. Now look at this week's team. I got Dave Cooks, my man. I can trust him. Lucas Yates is there for salary cap implications. I got JaVale McGee from Flint Town. He gonna look after me. Davo is definitely gonna fill up the stat sheet. Can't wait. Shawnee Bruce is getting some playing time. He's gonna help out. And my man David Aquera, who's getting lots of playing time and getting a whole bunch of productivity.
Those prices
You've really got 3 guys who are really
and make
trying
sure you
to
scan that QR code if you want to get involved in Beat the Coach, pick a team, play for free, win prizes.
Don't be scared.
Upset Damon Lowry, which is the
Don't be
greatest
scared.
prize.
Who was your
of
captain
all.
last week?
I had Doolittle captain last week. It cost me.
So the captain is normally a leader, and your leader...
Yeah, for someone who's got
Your
a lot
leader.
of thoughts on leadership.
Hey, he's your leader. He was your captain. That's
Wow.
what leadership is.
Hey, I'm going to speak on behalf of us. The game we're most excited for this week is going to be Wednesday, Sydney taking on Adelaide. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Monday.